In the first two phases of the development of culture studies, we understood that the critics of knowledge and studies of media contributed to the development of South Asian culture studies. So, along with the critics of knowledge and studies of media, two other developments have significantly informed South Asian culture studies. We have already seen the first two, that is, critics of knowledge and studies of media. Here he refers to Mahatma Gandhi, although in his lifetime, Gandhi may not have been recognized as a green leader. Green leader means the one who is concerned with about the ecology, environment. Today, his memory is cherished and invoked by women and men who are at the helm of ecological movements. So they are inspired by Gandhian thinking about ecology. Although during his lifetime it wasn't understood or recognized, but after his death, now people remember how Mahatma Gandhi was an environmentalist, an ecologist, and many of the people who are involved in ecological movements, for example, Narmada Bachao, Chipko Andolan, etc. If you are familiar with this because of your preparation for MPSC, UPSC, etc., you must be knowing all these movements in India. So they have been inspired by Gandhian thinking, along with strands of folk wisdom, means along with the folk culture, the experience of deforestation, the loss of ancestral lands, and other deprivations induced by unthinking development. Means we talk about development, but they think that this is unthinking development, lacking foresight. If you remember the poem by William Wordsworth that you have studied in your SYBA in poetry, Tables, or I think another poem I remember by George Herbert, wherein the problem of ecology has been discussed, how we believe in the development of destructing nature itself. So this kind of development is unthinking development, we can refer to it as. And this kind of deforestation and lack of knowledge of the ecology or loss of ancestral lands. Most of the people, farmers, they lost their ancestral lands and they became landless, booming. So that contributed to the Chipko movement in the North India, in the Garhwal Hills, and the Narmada Bachao Andolan, headed by Nimbahkar, Save the Narmada movement, and other motive attempts to reclaim a less exploitative relations between humans, animals, and nature. So India's ecological movements are more impressive, have more enduring significance than the scholarly writing. That's what Vinod thinks. These movements are more impressive and more long-lasting. Enduring significance have significant impact than any scholarly writings like European people, European scholars. And these movements have accompanied, scholarly writings have accompanied these movements. And in this bibliography on South Asian culture studies, there are the names of the books provided. The pages of this bibliography provide an ample testimony of the manner in which environmental and ecological histories have successfully contested the dominant pathology of knowledge. So this is another form which brings out how culture is imposed upon others, and there are many books mentioned in this particular bibliography. So he refers to the celebrated. Of course, this work is not unproblematic. There are certain problems, work of Vandana Shiva. In this work suggests it is a belief in deep ecology, which allows us to speak both of green movements, in which peasants and villagers have been the driving force, and the critics of knowledge systems as important aspects of culture studies. Okay, the critics means these critics of this particular domain or area focuses on pluralistic knowledge, diversity of knowledge. There is no single body of knowledge as such. So these particular people who believed in deep ecology, this deep ecology, thinking on deep or belief in deep ecology allows us to speak both of green movements. We think that diversity is an essential part. And these green movements in which peasant means small farmers and villages have been the driving force. If you remember Chipko Andolan, you might be knowing it was the movement against not deforestation for the sake of development. Uh, they would not allow the government officials to cut the trees, and they would embrace the trees. That is what Chipko movement is, and this movement took place in the Gariwar Hills. You might be knowing that. Who was the leader of Chipko Andolan? Does anyone know? I remember the name. It is a North Indian name. It was under the leadership of, I think it was in Uttarakhand. I'll tell you the name of the leader as well. Yeah, it was Sundarlal Bahuguna. Under the leadership of Sundarlal Bahuguna, this took place. You might be knowing that if you know the history. Fine, so mm, that farmers, villagers became kind of driving force, and even the critics of knowledge system. I mentioned what is the meaning of critics of knowledge. It refers to the plurality of knowledge. So they prove the important aspects of cultural studies. So the forest provides living, besides clean air, water, and fodder, and millions of people and ecological struggles are thus contestations over civil, social, political, and cultural rights. You can see. So the ecologists believe that a forest provides a living. Means you many of the tribal people, they are hunter gatherers. There are those who collect honey and all. So all these people are dependent on forest. And besides, it provides clean air, water, fodder. Fodder means for your chula, you get fodder and even grass and all. So millions of people are dependent on this ecological system. And there was a kind of contestation between what we call the civil, social, political, and cultural rights. The conflict between nature and culture, you can say. At the same time, the forest has been, particularly in India, a metaphor for norms of civility and civilization, a retreat for philosophers, a haven of the wise and the good, a resting place for the aged. You might be knowing in the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, many of the saints, sadhu, sant, rishi, muni, would go to forest for their tapasya, meditation. So it has been a metaphor for the norms of civility. Many of the ashrams of the munis would be in the forests. So in Indian civilization, forests have got very prominent position. Many of the philosophers would go to forest. Even Buddha is believed to have gone back. Lord Buddha. Many of the saints preferred going to the forest for their meditation. It is a kind of heaven. Heaven means the house kind of for wise and good people, a resting place for aged. In short, forest is an expression of pluralistic and human ways of being and living. So the ecological writers who wrote under the environment and ecology section, the list of the books has been given in this section, show a keen awareness without always being nativist or romantic. Actually, this is the charge against the writer Vandana Shiva. She is considered to be nativist or romantic, without any fallacies of presuming that India must be committed to the same discourse on development and progress that the West has so assiduously sought to perpetuate at the universal discourse of our times. Means what? We think that development or modernization means following the Western. And these ecologists are against this notion of development. I mean, they think that Indian civilization is in the forest. Means many philosophers preferred staying in forest. So this conflict, this contestation went on, and that became the part of cultural studies. You can understand that. Well, we shall continue with the discussion in the next lecture.